Good evening and welcome to Blueprint Explosive Exclusive. I'm Madhavdas GK. Viewers, it's been a year since Sheikh Hasina's ouster from Bangladesh, but the neighboring country remains mired in political uncertainty and extremism. A Canada-based think tank, Global Center for Democratic Governance, has flagged the rise in extremism in post-Hasina Bangladesh in its report titled A Snapshot of Human Rights Violations under Bangladesh's Interim Government. This report sheds light on how Islamist terrorists as well as terror groups are enjoying a shield under the Yunus administration. Emboldened by the support, banned terror groups are holding processions openly and calling for the establishment of a caliphate. Let's take a quick look at what this report reveals. The first aspect is about jailed terrorists. The fact that jailed terrorists are now being released. Terrorists sentenced or under trials have been released. Terrorists released without any due legal process. There are more than 300 terror accused that have been released this year. 12 accused top terrorists have been released on bail. Can you believe it? Members of at least 10 terror groups have been released, and this is what is being talked about in terms of the pro-Al-Qaeda Islamist Jasim-ud-Din Rahmani freed. This is, of course, Jasim-ud-Din Rahmani, who is, of course, pro-Al-Qaeda. All of this being recorded as far as this particular report is concerned. Now, there are also rallies taking place by terror groups, believe it or not. The flag of ISIS openly displayed on the streets of Dhaka. There is also processions being taken out by other banned terror groups there in Dhaka, which this report talks about. There's a procession by the Hizb ut-Tahrir in Dhaka on the 7th of March that took place. There's also a procession that has taken place, which is a march for Khilafa banners, essentially demanding a caliphate's establishment that has happened in Bangladesh. So in India's neighborhood, extremely concerning developments. Now, not only are terror accused being released under the Yunus regime, those who are operating from outside the country are returning to Bangladesh now. Amongst them is Saeed Jiaul, who is wanted by the United States for the 2015 murder of American citizen Avijit Roy. He is believed to have returned to Bangladesh following Sheikh Hasina's ouster and a reported pardon from the Yunus-led interim government. He is now active on social media, making provocative anti-India statements, which is why it's not just an internal problem for Bangladesh, but a security red alert for New Delhi. Let's listen in to some of the political reactions on this very concerning report.
I think that is radicalization. It's a hydra-headed monster. Kill it before it kills you. और इसका दायित्व सब एक हिंदू का नहीं है, किसी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी का नहीं है. इसका दायित्व जो लिबरल मुस्लिम्स हैं, उन लोगों को भी सोचना चाहिए. Today's religion is democracy and today's politics is development. इस आधार पर सारे विश्व को सोचना चाहिए.
देखिए, ये देश की सरकार को देखना है कि बांग्लादेश को लेके जो भी विदेश नीति है, समाजवादी पार्टी को इस पे कोई टिप्पणी नहीं करनी है. जो देश की सरकार फैसला करेगी, समाजवादी पार्टी देश की सरकार के साथ खड़ी है.
बांग्लादेश में एक स्टेबल सरकार हो, वो हम भी चाहते हैं, और वहाँ एक सेकुलर गवर्नमेंट हो, और चूंकि हमारा एकदम नेबरिंग कंट्री है, और वो हम भी चाहते हैं कि पड़ोस का कंट्री है, उसमें इलेक्शन हो जाए और अच्छा से एक सरकार आ जाए जो सेकुलर सरकार हो. पहले इंडिया के साथ जैसा अच्छा ताल्लुक रहा, इस तरह ताल्लुक अगर बहाल हो जाए, वो अच्छी बात है.
Let's quickly take this across to our reporters. Joining us is Bhavtosh Singh. Also with us is Priyank Tripathi. Coming to you first, Bhavtosh. Now, this is not a report prepared by an Indian government or any other think tank. It's a Canadian think tank that is talking about this and noting what are very, very serious concerns about the rise of extremism and a complete free run being given to terrorists. I mean, in which jurisdiction are terrorists out on bail like this?
Yes, Madhav, in fact, some of the figures are very disturbing, that 92,000 persons have been charged under various sections, including that of murder, but these are all fake charges. Importantly, 350,000 people have been sent to prison on flimsy charges. But let's go into the case of Major Zia, who goes by the name of Sayyid Ziaul Haq. He is someone who was involved in the fake coup or a failed coup that was carried out by him, and also in the killing of Avijit Roy. He was in fact declared as a wanted person by the Department of State. There was a reward of around 5 million on him. He was given clemency by the Yunus interim government, and then subsequently he came back to Bangladesh, and then he has started making provocative speeches and started putting out some posts. Now these posts, he is saying that if Awami League officers can be there in India, then Bangladesh should also provide shelter and refuge to various separatist groups.
Very serious concerns, Bhavtosh. Stay with us. There's some more breaking news coming in amidst the prevailing flux in the region. The 56th Director General level Border Coordination Conference between BSF and the Border Guard of Bangladesh is to take place. It is ongoing in Dhaka. These talks are scheduled from the 25th to 28th of August, marking the second DG level dialogue. And why this is very significant is that the action against the Indian insurgent groups operating from Bangladeshi soil is a matter of discussion here. Priyank is with us for more on this. Priyank, what exactly is the BSF going to be demanding from the Bangladeshi border guards as far as the crackdown on insurgent groups here in India who are operating on Bangladesh soil?
See, Madhavdas G, Chaudhary, who's a DG of BSF, is himself there in Dhaka for the 3 days conference. Last time the conference happened here in India, where the Bangladeshi border force was here. What is very important to be seen that the DG will be demanding that the infiltration and some smuggling, two of the major issue, should be dealt very seriously. There have been series of attacks which has also happened on our security forces. If you calculate this year's data, 35 security personnel from the BSF have been injured, while last year 68 of them were injured by these miscreants who were attempting to do smuggling. In 2025 till 30th of June 2025, around 1,700 infiltrators were stopped, while more than 2,500 infiltrators who were attempting to go to Bangladesh and bring more smuggled goods were also stopped by the border security forces. What is most important is the data of gold smuggling and the FICN. Last year, more than 35 lakh of the FICN was intercepted by the BSF. We can say.
Well, certainly smuggling is a huge issue of concern, but right now we're talking about matters pertaining to terror, matters pertaining to security, which, if Bangladesh plays fast and loose with, it's not just to the detriment of India, but to the detriment of Bangladesh itself. Thanks so much, Bhavtosh and Priyank, for joining us with those updates. Let's quickly open this up for our panel now. Sushant Sareen, a senior fellow at the Observer Research Foundation. We have Sushil Pandit, who is in fact an activist, joining us. Salahuddin Shoaib Chaudhary is editor of Blitz. He's a Bangladeshi journalist. We have Dr. Jihadul Bari, who's a joint chief coordinator of the National Citizen Party. Or I've been told Mr. Bari will be joining us very soon. Sushant Sareen, I want to come to you first. What's going on? Terrorists out on bail, ISIS flags on the streets of Dhaka, terror groups taking on protest rallies.
Madhav, it doesn't leave much to imagination with what's going on in Bangladesh. And in fact, this was one of the fears which India had even a couple of years back. And after the Sheikh Hasina government was overthrown illegally, I should add, this was a very serious concern. And there were manifestations of terror groups coming into their own. There were very clear indications of that happening. And initially it was believed that, look, because of the kind of chaos which existed after, governance had failed in Bangladesh with the overthrow of the Sheikh Hasina government, it was felt that it was that particular vacuum which led to some of the pogroms against minority communities, the targeting of people. But then subsequently it's turned out that this is a clear and concerted and deliberate move by the new regime. Incidentally, it's rather ironic that somebody who's heading the regime is a Nobel Peace Prize winner. These days, Nobel Peace Prizes also come very cheap and people are actually lobbying for them. But this is a guy who's got a Nobel Peace Prize, and under his watch, these are the kind of groups that are roaming around with complete impunity. Minorities are being targeted, journalists are being targeted. The number of journalists who have been booked for murder, this is something entirely bizarre. I've never heard this anywhere in the past. You can, sorry, you can book a journalist for sedition, for under other charges, for spying. 500 charges you can put on them. But journalists being accused of murder is the first time I've heard, and it's not one or two. There are multiple instances where journalists have been booked under murder. Political leaders have been put in prison. There is no due process being given to anybody. It is like kangaroo courts being run, and there is this guy who's presiding over it all. And then on top of that, so apart from all these non-state actors, which are quasi-state actors now, I should say, you have the Pakistanis jump in.
Absolutely.
And the is trying to reignite the flames of jihadism inside Bangladesh, something which Sheikh Hasina had very valiantly tried to put a lid on.
Yes. Yes.
And it's a proper, it's a disaster in the making.
Absolutely.
But it's going to hit the Bangladeshis in the first instance, and then of course it will spill over into India.
Absolutely. In fact, let me bring in Sushil Pandit on that point. Sushil Pandit, the manner in which this regime is engaging with Pakistan, the manner in which terror groups are being, mollycoddled, allowed to, hold open rallies, this is really what we've seen, the Pakistan template being employed now by Bangladesh. The big question is that now, perhaps in a few years, after spreading all of these nefarious activities, you're going to have Bangladesh come out and say, look here, we are a victim of terror. Whereas this is the kind of perpetration, the same language that Pakistan speaks. We can just see that happening. We can see that model playing out.
Absolutely right, Madhav. Thanks for having me on the show. This is Pakistan trying to create East Pakistan all over again. And if they have their way, they are very likely to do this, given some more time and a longer rope by their benefactors all over the world. And this is what it seems suits a lot of other powers who have created this into an arena for competitive clout and influence. We must not forget that during the liberation war of Bangladesh, Jamaat-e-Islami opposed that Mukti Sangram, that liberation war. And it survived that war. It thrived in subsequent years after a series of coups, because the basic radical element in the society was never dealt with. It was allowed space, and it had its own ups and downs. But now it has found very benign leadership and canopy to rapidly grow under, to regain influence, to reconnect with the lost connection with Pakistan. And now you can see it very rapidly climbing up the power ladder under Mr. Yunus. So Bangladesh is going the Pakistan way if it is not checked very fast. Pakistani military, Pakistani bureaucracy, Pakistani diplomats have a visa-free entry in Bangladesh now. This is formally. Informally, you have stronger liaisons. To the extent that Asim Munir found the courage to threaten us that their next operation will start from the east. So you can realize what is cooking.
Absolutely. And in fact,
this is bizarre.
I want Salahuddin Chaudhry to come in on that. Salahuddin Shoaib Chaudhry, the point is this. The point is you have a particular regime. When Mr. Yunus came in, he was supposed to be this, a grassroots level worker, has worked on microcredit, was seen as, some kind of a sane voice in Bangladesh. Unfortunately, he's been anything but that. He's allowing for all this extremism to grow. And this is something that I'm sure even the common Bangladeshis will have a problem with. Because this is one thing that can come back to bite Bangladesh and bite it very hard. Salahuddin Chaudhry.
Thank you very much, Madhav G. Look at this Yunus. This Yunus is a con man. He has been running this microcredit show with bunch of lies for decades. And as my fellow journalist Sushant Saranji mentioned, there are 266 journalists now in prison facing murder charges in Bangladesh. Now what Yunus is doing, we have broken this story in place about the Saeed Jiaul. This man who is connected to Al-Qaeda, wanted by the US State Department with $5 million bounty on his head. This man fled Bangladesh in 2016 and took shelter in Pakistan under the hospitality of Pakistani ISI. And immediately after the last year jihadist coup in this country, he returned to Bangladesh using a Pakistani passport. And this Saeed Jiaul last month, he published a post on Facebook calling upon Yunus to let all the insurgency groups of India open offices in Bangladesh. This is very dangerous indication. And as Sushilji mentioned, that there is a they have opened the prospect for Pakistanis to visit Bangladesh without visa. For your kind information, Pakistani ISI has already opened an office in Dhaka city's Mohakhali area. Office in Dhaka city. And we all know that one of the most dangerous things that any ship coming from Karachi, the commodities, consignments of those ships cannot be inspected by the Bangladesh authorities. It has been made mandatory by this Yunus regime. And according to some intelligence sources in Bangladesh, during the last 1 year, Pakistan has sent over 100,000 weapons to the potential jihadists. And as to Hizb ut-Tahrir, when Sheikh Hasina was in power, wherever the Hizb ut-Tahrir was trying to paste a poster, circulate their poster, they were arrested. But Yunus is patronizing. Now Hizb ut-Tahrir is open.
We have Dr. Jihadul. Sorry, I'm interrupting you because we have Dr. Jihadul Bari, who is the Joint Chief Coordinator of the National, Jahidul Bari, I beg your pardon, of the National Citizen Party. Dr. Jahidul Bari, this is Pakistan's playbook being played out in Bangladesh. You have, the ISIS flags. You have the caliphate being asked for. You have terrorists out on bail. What's going on? Due legal processes are not happening.
No,
Bangladesh is playing with terror. Something that has bitten off Pakistan very badly. And now Pakistan claims to be a victim of terror after spreading it and allowing it to perpetrate. Is the same thing happening in Bangladesh now?
No, not same thing and not the matter you are telling that. You must remember that Pakistan is our neighbor. So we have to have a good business relationship.
How is it your neighbor, sir?
Foreign relationship. So if
there is India in between.
India is our,
I think there's about 1,500 kilometers in between.
India is our neighbor, Pakistan is our neighbor, China is our neighbor, Myanmar is our neighbor. So
Myanmar is your neighbor, India is your neighbor.
Relationship with Pakistan. So we must go through Pakistan, we must go through China, we must go through Myanmar, and even with India. No matter. We are a sovereign country. We need to build up a good business
Mr. Bari, so does that mean you will allow ISI to perpetrate and carry out the same playbook there in Dhaka?
Just forgive ISI. It is a propaganda, and there is no.
There are no Pakistani army officers coming to Dhaka?
No.
No.
Pakistani
there are pictures of Pakistani officers in Bangladesh, sir.
Let me finish. Pakistani army officer came to Dhaka to have a bilateral relationship with Bangladeshi army.
So what relationships are these? Please tell us.
Will act together. They will have many things.
Have they come to play badminton or table tennis? What is this relationship?
They did not do it before, and they will be doing in the future.
Really? All right.
Yes,
This is all right. Just for paucity of time, otherwise this is certainly a debate that I would have liked to continue, but we'll have to leave it there. Dr. Jahidul Bari, Salahuddin Shoaib Chaudhary, Sushil Pandit and Sushant Sareen, certainly huge cause of worry as far as India is concerned. What will our government do? What are the steps that should be taken? And certainly if Bangladesh is going to allow itself to be used like this, despite the lessons that we have from the past as far as terror is concerned, certainly some cause of concern for Bangladesh as well. We'll have to leave it there, gentlemen. Thanks so much for joining us this evening.